Viewers, welcome to another lesson of the day. This is Social and Environmental Studies for the upper basic level. Before we start, I am Bakar MC Sane. Our today's lesson is entitled Family Systems, Types and Structures in the Gambia. Now, before we get into the lesson proper, let us start with the introductory remarks of this lesson, and it reads, every one of you comes from a family, which is the basic unit of society, which is very right. Every human being belongs to a family. For the part of the Gambia, it could be an extended family, a nuclear family, or a single parent family. A family is a group of people or individuals of various ages, that is, parents and children or near relatives who are related by birth, adoption, or marriage and live in the same compound. A family may also be defined as a group of people. Who are those groups of people? That is, parents and children or near relations who are descendants of a common ancestor. Some families live in remote hamlets. Some live in villages, towns, or even cities. They go to markets to sell their produce and other goods. One example is the Kanifing municipality, where there are many families living together in different compounds, and on a daily basis, you will see family members going to the market to be involved into various trading activities. Other members will be working in the formal sector. Some will be involved into apprenticeship or other skills. They grow the crops and raise the animals that they need the most. For example, if you move to certain places in the Gambia, you will see some family members involved in the growing of crops, be it rainy season or dry season. During the dry season, usually they will cultivate by adopting irrigation methods. In some families, mother goes to work either at the office, school, hospital, or even at the garden or orchard. In the Gambia, there are basically three main family types. As you can see, the nuclear family is one of them, the extended family, and single parent family. And each of these family types is with both advantages as well as disadvantages. The advantages is the same as importance or benefits. The disadvantages is the same as problems or challenges. Now, what are some of the responsibilities of family members? Like I mentioned earlier on that there are three different family types in the Gambia: nuclear family, extended family, single parent family. Now, each family member is charged with a responsibility or responsibilities. Here are some of them. Number one reads, provision of food and clean water. Provision of food and clean water. For example, in some families, both the father and the mother is involved in the provision of food for the family. In most of the families, usually, the provision of clean water is usually done by mothers. So example, if it is in the urban areas, Usually you will see our mothers going to the tap to fetch water. If it is in the rural settlements, so we'll be moving to the taps to get water. But in a settlement where pipe-borne water isn't available, you will see mothers getting water from a well or a borehole. Other responsibilities of family members include provision of clothing, which is one of the basic necessities in life, provision of shelter, provision of education, like sending the family members to school, especially those at the level of school-going children stage, provision of medical treatment, like if a member of the family is sick, usually the provision of medication is among the responsibilities of a family member. This is done either by the mother, the father, the uncle, an aunt, nephew, niece. It depends on the type of family setup, whether it is nuclear or extended or single parent. If a family member is sick, other members in the family will make sure that effort is being made to help the sickly family member. Now, this brings us to the description of an extended family, and as we move further, you will see the image or picture of an extended family, how an extended family setup looks like in a traditional Gambian society. Now, an extended family is a family in which parents, children, grandparents, and other relations of the family stay together. Who are other relations of the family? Uncle is one of them, aunt, nephew, niece, grandfather or grandmother, etc., etc. Now, there is a form of marriage which is associated with an extended family. And what is this form of marriage called? It is polygamy. Therefore, polygamy as a type of marriage is associated with an extended family system. This is a type of marriage where the husband will marry more than one wife. This type of family system is common in the Gambia. Like sometimes you may be asked in an assessment, name the most common family system in the Gambia. Obviously, your answer is an extended family. The extended family system best maintains the traditional values of the society. What are those traditional values? These are our norms and values. Other issues related to these traditional values is the culture of family members. So in an extended family setup, usually the children are trained as well as being taught on the traditional values of the society. Now, what are you seeing here? We are seeing an image of an extended family. For example, if you go to a particular home or compound, you will see some of the extended families looking like this. Here we are seeing some mothers. We can see the father, and at the background, you can also see other family members seated at the back. So this is an example of an extended family. Here we are not seeing only father, mother, or only children. Now, some of the advantages of an extended family or benefits, or we still call it importance, are number one, relatives help one another in times of difficulties. You may be in an extended family system. As a father, you are not very strong economically, or as a mother, you are not very strong economically. But an uncle in the family may be well off, or an aunt, or nephew, or niece. All this happens. So usually, when difficulty comes, apart from the father and mother, other members like the ones I mentioned before will come to the help of family members. Adequate manpower during farming season. One good example is our farming communities. For example, during farming activities, if you travel to a farmland and you observe very well, you realize that during weeding activities, during other cultivation activities, you will not only see father and mother removing grasses on the farmland. You will be seeing the children. You will also be seeing an uncle or a nephew or a niece, all contributing, all working on that farm. Also, in an extended family setup, socialization is very common. What is this socialization about? It is mainly about coming to the help of one another. This is not just necessarily giving materials. You have money to give an amount of money to a family member or other issues. It is not only about that. Even moral advice is all part of socialization. You think if I advise a particular member of our extended family system, it is to the benefit of that person. All falls under socialization. Whatever you have, be it material, morally, so long as if you think when this is said to Binta or Kumba or Samba or Pate or John or Josephine, it is to his or her benefit. Obviously, you will not be keeping quiet with it. So all falls under socialization. Another advantage of an extended family system is the culture of caring and sharing. It's encouraged. The culture of caring and sharing. Whatever you have, be it a cash or kind, you share with other members of the family. So it is one of the family systems where sharing and caring is very, very common. Besides advantages of an extended family, like I mentioned earlier, there are disadvantages, problems, challenges. So what are some of those disadvantages? One, difficult to manage and sustain, especially in an extended family system where there are many wives, many children, many relations of the family apart from the wives and children. Definitely, it will be difficult to manage and sustain on some days. More especially, feeding, the problem of housing, the problem of medication, even paying for the school fees of the children in the family. Sometimes these are challenges. So sometimes it is always not easy to manage and sustain, especially if the head of that extended family system lives on an unreliable income. It's always difficult. Another disadvantage is that conflict among family members. Conflict among family members. For example, usually in some extended family setups, children from the same mother are closer to each other than children from the same father. Usually, there is that rivalry, hatred, or jealousy among the children of the same father. So usually, you can observe that in an extended family system. Housing and clothing can also be a problem in an extended family system, where there are many wives, many children, not to talk of other members of the family like the uncles, the aunts, the nephews, all staying with the head of the family. Sometimes will be a lot of a challenge to the head of the family. Sometimes if you go to a room, you will see 3 or more boys all living in the same room. You will see 3 or more girls all living in the same room. So all those are problems. Sometimes even the problem of clothing. Sometimes the head of the household might find it difficult to be buying new clothes for the members of the family, especially on a monthly basis. It will not be easy. Now, there may also be some problems in times of marriage. This is one of the major problems, in fact. For example, when a member of the extended family is about to marry, for example, a girl is about to marry, usually the brothers to that particular girl's father will want to have a say in that marriage. Even if they are not the biological father of that daughter, they want to have a say. They want to make their decisions, and for people to hear them, or for people to see that they are the ones who officially approve this marriage. So that is what this particular point is emphasizing. And it reads, there may be some problems in times of marriage. For example, when each uncle wants to take a decision in the running of the family. So the uncle here is referring to the brothers of the father. The brothers of the father. A conflict among family members as regards inheritance. This is another problem. Like when the father to a particular extended family died, usually this problem will start occurring. Issues of inheritance. Who is supposed to take our daddy's vehicle? Who is supposed to take our daddy's most expensive material from elsewhere? Our daddy got so many compounds. Who is supposed to take the greatest share among those compounds? Or our daddy deposited a particular sum of money in a particular commercial bank account. Now, Lamin or Kumba or Samba or Momodu or Binta or Peter or Paul should get the greatest share because he is a son, or because this one is a girl. So some of those problems usually arise in an extended family setup. Now this brings us to another type of family system which is common in the Gambia, and it is called nuclear family. This is a small family unit in which lived the father, mother, and their children. Remember, we've talked about an extended family. We said in that type of family setup, not only the father, mother, and the children lives together, but other members of the family as well. But it's unlike this one. Monogamy as a form of marriage is associated with a nuclear family. Now you can see which form of marriage is associated with an extended family. We said it is called polygamy. Now this other type of family system, it is monogamy, which is associated with the family. It is also very similar to a single parent family. A single parent family involves only one parent living together with the children. In a nuclear family system, father goes to work to provide the food and other basic needs for the family. In some nuclear family systems, mother goes to work to provide the food and other basic needs of the family. Now, what are some of the advantages of a nuclear family? Number one, it is easy to manage. What makes it easier to manage is because of the small size. Because of the small size, in a nuclear family setup, mostly the father, the mother, and only the children live together. Less conflict. Even if there will be a conflict among family members, it will not be as serious as in an extended family setup. It is also easier to provide housing, food, clothing, and medication, for example, to the family members. It is easy. What makes all this easier to the head of the family is because of the small size. Too much dependence on the husband. Also, there is enough space in the family house. Why enough space in the family house? Is because of the size, the small size. Also, family members are closer to one another. In a nuclear family system, family members are closer to one another. Remember, in an extended family system, we say mostly family members are not very close to each other like that of a nuclear family. Because in an extended family system, if you could remember, we've talked about having two different classes of children, all from the father and the different mothers. Like we have what we call children from the same father, as well as children from different mothers in an extended family setup. Another advantage of a nuclear family is that there is relative peace. Why relative peace? Because there is little or no hatred, jealousy, or even showing a sign of dislike to a family member simply because he or she is blessed with something or he or she got something. There is very little of that happening in a nuclear family system. So they usually enjoy more peace than the family setup where a lot of family members are many. Now, even though in a nuclear family setup, family size is usually small, they are also faced with some problems, disadvantages, challenges. What are some of those disadvantages? Number one, little or no support in times of difficulties. There's little or no support in times of difficulties. Why? Because in a nuclear family setup, mostly it is the father and mother that is providing the basic necessities in life to the family members. Yes. Because other family members like the uncle, grandparents, nephews, nieces, etc., are not staying with them. So it is sometimes difficult to get support from all those members of the family because they are not staying with the father and the mother. Instead, the father and mother is staying with only their children. Less socialization, therefore, loneliness also is another problem. There is less socialization. If you go to some nuclear family compounds, you will be seeing children from the same mother, yes, sitting together, discussing issues. But what about discussing some of those social issues with other children of the same family? For example, children of the father's family, children of the mother's family. That is not very common because those children are not staying with them. And this may also result in loneliness. Sometimes that happens, especially in a nuclear family setup where there is only one son, one daughter. Yes, the son may find it difficult to socialize with others because he is alone. The daughter may also be faced with some difficulties in terms of socialization because he is alone. Inadequate manpower in terms of farming. Like if the head of a nuclear family system, for example, is a farmer by profession, now it will take him or her a long duration to do all the activities on his or her farm. Why? Because the manpower capacity that should come to his or her help on that farm isn't much. Also, the family members usually hire labor. As you can see, for example, the father is alone, the mother, yes, and you cultivated a large acre of land. At times, if you want to finish and on time, you need to hire labor. You hire the services of other people. But where the money isn't available as required, even the hiring of the labor will be proven difficult. Now, here we are seeing the picture of a nuclear family. Remember, we've looked at the picture of an extended family where we saw not only the father and mother in the background, but we also saw other members of the family. Here, what are we seeing? We are seeing the father, daughter, son, and mother. Are we seeing other members of the family like an uncle, a nephew, a niece, etc., etc.? No, we are not seeing that here. Instead, we are seeing only 4 members of the family. Now, it says below is a diagram of a family tree. What is a family tree? Yeah, when we say family tree, it's not necessarily the tree that we are seeing in our environment. No. So therefore, the meaning of family tree is a chart that shows the earliest known ancestors of a family and all the persons who descended from him or her. That is called a family tree. As we move on, you will see the chart showing a family tree, how it looks like. Now, a family tree shows all the relationships in the family. It shows all the relationships in the family. And when we move to the chart showing a family tree, you will see a term called generation. So what do we mean by generation? It meant all of the people born and living at about the same time. That is known as generation. For example, the sons and daughters in a family all belong to the same generation. Grandmother and grandfather of a particular family all belongs to the same generation, even though they are older than each other in terms of certain number of years, but they all belong to the same generation. Now, what are some of the family trees which I want you to see? Now, here we are seeing a family tree of a nuclear as well as an extended family. And remember, we've talked about generation, where members of the family belongs to the same level, not necessarily of the same age, but they are all belonging to the same period in history. So that is known as the generation. Like what we are seeing here, we are seeing the family tree of a nuclear family. As you can see, nuclear family. In this nuclear family, what are we seeing here? Parents. And among the parents is Momodu. Among the parents in this nuclear family is Momodu. Then among the children, there are 2 brothers and 1 sister. Then on the other side, we are seeing 1 brother and 1 sister. Are we seeing names like grandfather or grandmother or nephew or niece in this family tree? No, we are not seeing that here. So usually in a nuclear family setup, the number isn't large. But if you look at the next family tree, which is an extended family tree, as you can see here, labeled, the first generation here, we are seeing grandparents. We are seeing grandparents. You can see grandparent on this chart here, and on the same level you are seeing grandparents. And beside it, it is written generation 1. What do you mean by this generation 1? It's simply showing you that both these 2 grandparents all belongs to the same level, even though by age they are older than each other. And this is very true. If you go to an extended family system, even if your grandfather is older than your grandmother, but the age gap between them will not be very, very high. It will not be very, very high. So this is what we mean by generation, people of the same level. If you look at the next generation, where we are seeing uncle and aunt, we are also seeing parents, uncle and aunt. They belong to which generation? generation 2. Look at generation 2 here. You can see uncle and aunt, parents, uncle and aunt. If you look at it carefully, this is showing you that the parents here are the children of these grandparents. Now, these 4 cousins, 2 brothers, 4 cousins, 2 brothers, 1 sister, 3 cousins, all belong to generation 3. And also this is true. If you look at the cousins here, 2 brothers, 1 sister, 3 cousins, all belonging to the same generation. And if you look at the name Hadi, Hadi here is a parent. Hadi here is taking the role of a parent. So this is showing you that in an extended family system, there are more than 1 generation. There are more than 1 generation. If you go to an extended family compound, grandparents all belong to the same generation. Parents, like the fathers, the mothers, all belong to the same generation. Children all belong to equally the same generation. Viewers, before we come to the end of the lesson, here is your assignment. And the first question reads, why is the family so important to our society? Why is the family so important to our society? Number 2, is it easy to be a parent? Give reasons. Question 3, the term generation in family systems meant dash dash. Question 4, Binta lives with her father, mother, 2 sisters, and a brother. This is an example of a dash family. So that is your assignment for this lesson. Before we call it a day, make sure this assignment is answered before our next lesson starts. I thank you all. Once again, I am Bakar MC Sane. Thank you.